I never imagined a quiet Saturday morning on my own land would spiral into a showdown with two sheriff's deputies, a woman I'd never met screeching that I was trespassing on my own field, her clipboard brandished like a war banner. My jaw dropped, caught between stunned silence and the urge to laugh at the absurdity. The deputies stood there, visibly baffled, as dust swirled around us. No coffee in hand to spill, just me, Caleb Harper, rooted to the earth my family had owned since 1950, facing down a suburban tyrant named Lorraine Baxter, HOA president with a vendetta bigger than the Texas horizon. She was red-faced, spitting community bylaws like gospel, oblivious to the fact that this field wasn't just dirt, it was my family's blood, sweat, and legacy, bought by my grandfather with his last war savings. Raised on stories of brutal winters, scorched summers, and harvests that danced between miracles and ruin, I'd watched my father tend this land with unyielding grit. When he passed it to me, his only command was clear: never let it go. I'd braced for bankers or bulldozers, not a clipboard-wielding despot. Lorraine had declared war, and she was about to learn I didn't back down. It all began innocently enough. Months earlier, Crestwood Meadows, a shiny suburban of cookie-cutter mansions, sprouted 2 miles away, its meadows, a flat stretch of dirt that hadn't seen a blade of grass since Eisenhower was president. I ignored the glossy homes, assuming the newcomers craved the same rural quiet I did. Big mistake. Lorraine, the HOA's self-anointed empress, lived for control, dictating everything from mailbox hues to approved shrubs. When her neighbors grew weary of her iron fist, she turned her gaze outward, locking onto my field like a hawk spotting prey. The first shot came in a letter stuffed into my weathered mailbox, official-looking but reeking of nonsense. The Crestwood Meadows HOA claimed maintenance oversight over adjacent lands, demanding I comply with their rules within 30 days or forfeit my rights. I laughed, crumpled it, and fed it to my wood stove, thinking that was the end. It wasn't. A week later, a sharper letter arrived, threatening fines for non-compliance. I showed it to my neighbor, Tom Wheeler, over coffee at the diner. He nearly choked on his bacon, roaring, "She thinks she can snatch your field with a letter?" Everyone knew my land was mine, deeded, taxed, untouchable. But Lorraine didn't believe in untouchable. She had a visation, and my field was her prize. Strange things followed. Surveyor flags popped up along my fence overnight. Cars crawled by, cameras flashing. I thought it was county road work, but calls to the office turned up nothing. Then came the HOA signs, brazenly bolted to my posts, declaring my land Crestwood Meadows Community Green Space, with fines for trespassers. Amusement curdled into rage. I dug out my 1950 deed, called the county, and roped in my cousin, Nathan Cole, a lawyer with a pit bull's tenacity. He confirmed no HOA could seize private land without a sale or eminent domain, both requiring years of legal battles. I planned to outlast her, but Lorraine had other ideas. That Saturday, as I tossed feed to my chickens, engines rumbled. 2 deputy cruisers kicked up dust, followed by Lorraine's polished SUV. She stormed out, pointing and shrieking that I was trespassing on HOA property, demanding my arrest. The deputies exchanged wary glances. I handed over my deed, notarized, backed by decades of tax records. Lorraine, unfazed, thrust forward a stack of HOA bylaws and a hand-drawn map, its borders absurdly swallowing my field and half the valley. The deputies struggled to keep straight faces. After 20 minutes, they apologized, warned Lorraine to back off or face trouble, and drove away. She screamed, "This isn't over!" and peeled out, levying a cloud of dust like a battle cry. She meant every word. The next morning, a new sign on my gate declared my field Crestwood Meadows Community Property, threatening fines. I ripped it down, hands shaking, and tossed it into my truck. This wasn't a misunderstanding, was an invasion. That afternoon, a landscaping crew rolled up, unloading moors by my fence. A jittery kid muttered something about HOA community field improvements. I pulled out my phone, filmed, and warned them of trespassing charges. They fled, tires squealing. Word spread like wildfire. By dinner, the diner buzzed with Lorraine's audacity. Tom slapped his knee, howling. HOA rules over your deed? She's lost her damn mind. Neighbors dropped off casseroles, rallying behind me. Over coffee, Nathan warned that Lorraine's persistence could muddy public perception, even if her claims were legally baseless. We needed a trap. I strung yellow caution tape along the field's road-facing edge, posted signs screaming, "Federal Agricultural Restoration Project, no entry," and hid motion sensor trail cameras in the oaks. They'd ping my phone if Lorraine set foot on my land. 3 days later, at dawn, my phone lit up. The feed showed Lorraine, clipboard in hand, leading landscapers across my field, planting flags and digging holes in my barley rows. Rage boiled, but I stayed calm, SAVYing the footage. I called Sheriff Jake Ramsey, an old high school buddy who loved justice as much as he did fly fishing. He chuckled, promising swift action. An hour later, Jake's cruiser glided in, lights off. We strolled to the field, letting Lorraine spot us. She froze, then waved her clipboard, ranting about HOA authority. Jake, smirking, demanded her proof. She offered bylaws and her scribbled map. He reviewed my deed, taxes, and footage, then declared her a trespasser. As he cuffed her, reading her rights, she wailed about lawsuits. The landscapers bolted, abandoning their tools. Lorraine hissed, "This isn't over," as Jake led her away. I tipped my hat, savoring the win. Her arrest only fueled her. A week later, a county survey truck parked by my field. The driver, a young subcontractor, said the HOA ordered a boundary survey for their community land. His map, hand-drawn, engulfed my field and neighbors' lots. I sent him packing and called Jake, who issued a cease and desist. Lorraine was sneakier now, but I was ready. I added more cameras, staked bolder signs, and leaned on county allies for a faux federal project facade. Quiet days followed, but I felt her plotting. One evening, engines roared. Through binoculars, I saw Lorraine leading HOA board members, flashlights and clipboards in hand, toward my caution tape. She tore it down, ordering picnic tables for a community park. I hit record and called Jake. His cruiser arrived silently, catching them red-handed. Lorraine shrieked about beautification, but Jake pointed to my cameras and deed, offering her a choice: leave or face charges. Her allies scattered. She stomped to her SUV, slamming the door. The war raged, but Crestwood rallied. Neighbors hosted barn dances, the diner hummed with defiance, and Tom's wife baked pies for Team Caleb. Nathan and I plotted a counter-strike. Lorraine's next move was a county inspection for my unsafe barn, triggered by her anonymous tip. Inspectors found it sturdier than modern builds, apologizing for the hassle. In court, her lawyer's community rights plea crumbled against my deed, taxes, and footage. The judge, sharp as a blade, affirmed my ownership, ordering Lorraine to pay damages, court costs, and a public apology or face jail. She slumped, her empire shattered. Outside, neighbors cheered, grilling on the courthouse lawn, kids wavvying, free field, signs. The field became a symbol of triumph. A yearly festival drew crowds with tractor races and pie contests. Lorraine's HOA ousted her, and she sold her house, vanishing as a pariah. Her settlement funded a barn community center, hosting school trips where kids planted corn and learned about soil. The state named my field a historic agricultural site, granting funds and a plaque. At the second festival, I thanked the crowd. Community grows from shared fights. Weddings bloomed under the South Oak, veterans raised flags, and markets thrived. An elderly VY cider, Mrs. Ellen Hayes, shared tearful memories of childhood hay bales and first kisses by that oak, thanking me for SAVYing it. The field wasn't just mine, it was Crestwood's, a legacy of defiance. VYing Lorraine's paper dreams couldn't erase history. Years later, it buzzed with life. Kids sowed pumpkins, artists painted its golden rose, and Saturday markets drew families countywide. Lorraine faded into a cautionary tale, her name hissed with smirks. One dusk by the oak, I felt my grandfather's promise fulfill, not just land saved, but a community reborn. The absurd fight had forged us tighter, rooting Crestwood in honor, memory, and the grit to stand against tyranny, one field at a time.